Alright, continuing with our classwork from night 7, this is our last problem and it will be our last video hopefully. So we're simplifying algebraic expressions here. So the first thing that we're going to do on this problem number 8a is we're going to use the distributive property to distribute the 3/4. So 3/4 times x, that's going to use the distributive property, and then we're multiplying, which is associating. So we have 3/4 x, and then plus, and we could change this to plus or minus here, so we have a positive times a negative, which is a negative, and then we're going to multiply. There's no canceling that's possible, because remember, really what we're doing is 3/4 times negative 1/2 here, and so we're multiplying fractions, which of course we look for canceling numerator denominators, but there is no canceling, so multiplying straight across, giving us 3 in the numerator, and multiplying straight across, which gives us 8 in the denominators. And then plus the 2/3, because remember, when the parentheses end, our distributive property ends. Now what we need to do is we need to combine these like terms here. So what we need is we need least common denominators. So 8 and 3's common denominator is 4, least common denominator. So we're going to build the higher terms. So this one is going to get multiplied by 3 in order to make that. So this one's going to get multiplied by 3. And this one's going to get multiplied by 8. And so this one's going to get multiplied by 8. And so we have 3 times negative 3, which is negative 9, plus, and 2 times 8, which is 16. And then that's 20/4. And then of course what we have here is we have the bigger number minus the smaller number in the numerator, and we're going to keep the sign of the larger one. And so all that said and done, we're going to copy the first term, the 3/4 x, and then we're going to add in, and 16 minus 9, which is 7, and that's 7/24. And of course you do need to check and make sure that 7/24 doesn't reduce, and of course 7/24 doesn't reduce, so what we have here is our final answer, which is 3/4 x and plus 7/24. So that's our answer to part 1. All right, moving on to part 2. Part 2, we have, first of all, to change this one to addition of the opposite and addition of the opposite, and then we're going to be distributing this negative 3 through the parentheses here and here. So we have 2 plus negative times a positive, which is a negative, 3 times 3, which is 9, times x, plus negative times a positive, which is a negative, 3 times 2, which is 6, and then plus a negative 9. And so we have this thing, which is a variable term, and then these 3 terms, which are all constants that we'll add together. So I'll just draw this out completely. We have negative 9x, we'll write that first, plus a negative 6, plus a negative 9, and plus a 2. And of course that used the commutative property, and that's the associative property. So finally we're going to end up with a negative 9x, because that's different than the constants, and we'll add the constants. A 6 plus a 9, that's a 15, and it's negative, and then plus the 2 here, right, that's a 15, and it's minus 2. And when we have it all said and done, we're going to be having that as a negative. So this will be a negative, and 15 minus 2, which is 13. Now it's okay to leave it like that, but the preferred answer is actually negative 9x minus 13. And once that is changed back to subtraction, that's the preferred final answer, negative 9x minus 13.